In terms of tackling security, there is lack of political will.
Beyond the headlines,
who are the sponsors of insecurity in this country?
from breaking news to everyday conversations, this is where Nigeria's conversations begin. We track the issues shaping Nigeria and the world today. The world is talking, and we're listening. This is Trends on LJE News.
Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Trends on LJE News, where we bring you the latest and developing stories in Nigeria and of course across the globe. My name is Omotola Adeleke. All right, I will not be doing this alone. Of course, I have my guest in the studio. Mr. Shadrach, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Barrister Meme, you're also welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, so don't forget you can be a part of our growing online community by hitting that follow, like, share, and subscribe button right now on all social media platforms at LJE News. Let's quickly run through our stories for this edition of Trends. The National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Professor Nentawe Yuwata, has said that few queues at petrol stations have disappeared since the current administration assumed office. He also claimed that civil servants at both the federal and state levels, as well as pensioners, are not being owed salaries or pensions. Professor Yuwata also said that the major economic reforms being implemented by the federal government were jointly agreed upon by the three leading presidential candidates in the 2023 general election: President Bola Tinubu, Labour Party's Peter Obi, and PDP's Atiku Abubakar. Yuwata also defended the Tinubu administration's policies amid public criticism, stressing that reforms were not exclusive to the APC. He said there was consensus among the candidates on removing fuel subsidy, collapsing the foreign exchange parallel market, and implementing tax reforms, all of which were considered necessary but painful. The APC National Chairman also praised President Bola Tinubu's international travels, saying they have delivered tangible economic gains for Nigeria. He said the country has secured over $50 billion in foreign direct investment and commitment across key sectors, describing President Tinubu's diplomatic effort as strategic, purposeful, and instrumental in strengthening global partnerships. He urged Nigerians to be patient and supportive, describing the president's approach as bold, strategic, and necessary for long-term national growth. Yuwata has also dismissed claims that he's been considered as President Bola Tinubu's running mate for 2027. Yuwata described the report as baseless and misleading, also rejecting suggestions that Vice President Kashim Shettima might be dropped, calling the rumors dust where there is no dust. He also mentioned that Wike is not a problem in APC. APC National Chairman Professor Yuwata has highlighted a Nel Fund initiative which provides students across Nigeria with tuition loans and a monthly 20,000 naira allowance. Speaking on Tuesday, he noted that over 1 million students currently benefit, many supporting the families, while the program also forms part of broader social protection effort, including health insurance reaching 4 to 5 million Nigerians. APC's growth driven by grassroots support, not governor's defection, says Yuwata. Now he's reacting to claims that the APC was planning to impose a one-party system in Nigeria. And he responded to those claims that it is not true. And let's not forget Abdullahi Ganduje, had said it would not be a bad idea if Nigeria became a one-party state. But Yuwata dismissed the suggestion. He said no. If everybody in Nigeria rather supports the APC, we will be happy if everybody in Nigeria support APC, not a one-party system, because we want to have people who are also challenging us, he said. The national chairman has said the opposition African Democratic Congress, ADC, poses no serious threat or challenges to the ruling party ahead of the 2027 general election. The APC chairman rejected claims that the ruling party was under pressure or threatened by the growing opposition coalition insisting that the party was not forcing civil servants to join its ranks. Iwada also said the APC was not worried by the caliber of opposition leaders reportedly aligning with the ADC, including people like Atiku Abubakar, former Speaker of the House of Representatives Aminu Tambuwal, former Anambra State Governor and also 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, as well as former Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola. All right, let's come to our guest quickly. Mr. Shadrach, I'm pretty sure you listened to the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress interview on TV, on live broadcast, and you heard all he had said. Now, one of those things he mentioned is, first, there are no fuel queues anymore. The prices of products are now down, and so many other things. Is this a real success or a form of political massaging?
Well, sir, most respected professor, the APC chairman, I admire him so much. When he was appointed the chairman, I know at least we'll have a balance and sanity in a political party administration, but he's yet to be tested when the party primaries come knocking. That is where it all starts from, internal democracy. But on these, his comments on things being very okay because there are no more queues in filling station.
Let's not also forget, it says salaries are now being paid in full. No one is being owed. Pensioners are not being owed.
That is where the problem is, because I remember one of the very first times that we enjoyed no queues in the filling station during when Jonathan took over from Yar'Adua of blessed memory between 2011, the queues disappeared. But at that point, when the queues disappeared, we were buying fuel for X amount of money. And now he cannot clap hands for his administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu because the queues are no more. How much are we buying fuel? You cannot say if there are no more queues in our filling station where we are buying fuel 10 times more than what we were buying before. You cannot say they are no longer owing salary. What the plight of just a few days ago, we saw what happened here in the FCT. People are crying, people are dying, pensioners have not been paid, and you make this comment. These comments are very insensitive, and I can't say that's a mockery of those who are opposite what he just declared, and it is not good for the optics.
All right, let me quickly ask you this question. Don't forget, he also mentioned that opposition leaders also align with the reforms that are on ground right now. Talking about foreign exchange reforms, talking about the other one he mentioned on reduction of what did he call it? There were some reforms that he mentioned and
Fuel
all
subsidy
that.
removal.
Fuel subsidy removal and the whole cash and whatever. So I would want to ask you, now he's saying opposition leaders actually align with some of these reforms. Are we saying if these opposition leaders had won in 2023 general elections, will it be the same experience for Nigerians?
It's definitely not going to be the same, because we saw the first instance where the federal government wanted to remove fuel subsidy by Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. We saw how much, and we saw the procedures that they took. First, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the coordinating minister for the economy, first of all, they rolled out palliative. They rolled out a lot of vehicles on the road. A whole lot of measures were put on ground first, before they announced the intention to remove fuel subsidy. And what did they peg it at? 120 naira. So you cannot be saying 10 years after that, we ought by this time to be buying fuel lesser. That's to show that you are progressing as a country. But we are buying fuel 10 times more than what that administration had put in place. So it's not about the policy. It's about the driver of the policy. Anybody can write paper, but you show workings. It is the workings of those policies that differentiate clearly from one person to the other.
All right. There are controversies around traveling and movement of the president from one country, from Nigeria to other countries, and from other countries to another, Barrister Meme. Now, I want to ask you this question. The national chairman recently said about $50 billion, I mean to say, have come into Nigeria in terms of foreign domestic investment. But are Nigerians actually benefiting from this said 50 billion naira FDI?
It is easy for, this government is a government of propaganda. So it is easy for anybody to reel out figures just the same way they have been real out figures since 2015. The bottom line is that where are the evidence? Tell me one investment that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has brought into this country, then all of us will clamor for one party state.
So are you saying the travels by the president it has been a waste of time
These
so
are
far?
personal travel trips, and it is not translating into reality, into development. Tell me one industry that has been established as a result of his travel. Tell me one ICT development company that President Bola Tinubu has attracted into this country. Tell me, show me any of these achievements.
But now some critics have said it's unnecessary. As a matter of fact, you're also saying the travels are unnecessary.
MOU's travels.
But don't you think Nigerians should be patient to a certain extent with some of these reforms or investments that are coming into Nigeria, said by the APC National Chairman? Don't you think we should call for patience rather than, criticizing all the time?
Government is a continuity, right? From the time of former President Muhammadu Buhari, we have been encouraged to be patient. From 2015, it has been patient. And thereafter, they said it's a renewed hope, patience. Now, this is 3 years down the line. Nigerians are still patient. But the question is, the world is not waiting for anyone. All over the world, development are moving forward. People are manufacturing, ICT development, things are going on all over the world. Technology and the rest of them.
Okay.
Tell me what is going on in this country that we can be proud of. Tell me any sector, any critical sector that is functioning in this country. Is it the health sector? Is it the security? Is it the road infrastructure?
But they say prices of food is now reducing. According to NBS, from their statistics, the prices of food products, tomatoes, we said this yesterday or so. Don't you think that is a form of, improved governance in Nigeria?
Okay, can you just mention the price of food items in question that we are talking about?
Tomatoes, beans, rice, some of these regular consumables. That was what was stated by the National Bureau of Statistics, actually.
In fact, just a nearby restaurant here in this estate, a team member here went to buy food and she bought the food about 4,000 plus. And they added VAT of so she paid 5,000 plus. Is that the price of food going down? Now, all the restaurants now, they are adding up VAT because the government wants to make sure that they collect money from everybody.
All right.
Look, this is not about all right. Let us be realistic. You understand? Let us be realistic. Let us face the reality. When you listen to the APC National Chairman, it tells you the mindset of the leaders of this country at the moment, because he speaks for the government, he speaks for the political party, which is the head of the political party.
Talking about the speaking for the political party, he speaks for the government, he speaks for, all in all and all. He said he doesn't have the moral justification, not moral justification. He probably has no business with the rift between Wike and Siminalayi Fubara, the governor of Rivers State. Don't you think that's kind of weird? For a national chairman to say, what's happening in the APC in Rivers State is not really his own jurisdiction, that it's an internal affair in Rivers State.
But Barrister Meme just concluded by answering that question technically by saying that showed you the mindset of our leaders. The mindset of our leaders. So you said you don't want to concern yourself with what is happening in Rivers State. Rivers State have how much population? They are Nigerians, still part of the country called Nigeria. So it's none of your business that the government is almost not going anywhere in Rivers State.
Someone told me something yesterday that the fear of Wike is the beginning of wisdom. Do you think Iwata is scared of Wike? Now, let's not also forget Iwata mentioned that Wike is not the problem of APC. I don't know. Is it the problem of PDP? I just want you to,
Well, before I come to that, I just want to quickly bear my thoughts on what he talked about, food prices being crashing down.
Okay.
There's a term in economics when we're in secondary school, ceteris paribus, other things being equal. If you say food prices have de-escalated, have calmed down, maybe a bag of rice from 80,000 to 55,000. The economic term said other things being equal. What is the purchasing power as at now. Remember, a bag of rice was once sold here for 8,000 naira. We bought it to 80,000, and from 80,000, it came back not to 8,000, not to 10,000, not to 12,000, but to perhaps 55,000. You don't call that growth. Other things being equal. How much was a price, a liter of fuel at the time? And how much is it now? 10 times over. So when you begin to, and now the tax have increased 10 times over. So it is not the same. If you are earning 5 times than you earned 4 years ago, it's still not better, because some of all these things that consume that money have escalated 10 times over. So it is not ultimately the same thing. But back to the question of Fubara and Wike. Of course, politicians don't want somebody that will pose any threat to them. A vote is very important. There is no denial that Wike is a factor, so they don't want to mess around, because for them, it is not about the people, what the people brings to you. For them, it is one who have the manipulative tendencies or swaying vote to you. That is what they are concerned. Because if not, it wouldn't be a concern really, because if you are, delivering governance to the people, you will look forward to the people of Rivers State. That equation would have been different. It would have actually been said that what is going on in Rivers is a major concern, knowing that he's expecting the people to vote to them. But at this point, they don't care whatever happens to the people. What they care about is an individual, Wike or Fubara, what they can get from those individuals and not from the people.
All right. Barrister Meme, Wike is of the PDP. Siminalayi Fubara is of the APC. But it's looking like, the All Progressives Congress, prefers to back Wike, who is of the PDP, more than even their member, who is of the APC, talking about Siminalayi Fubara. Why do you think this is like this?
Well, they can choose to back whosoever they want to back, but you cannot say Wike.
Well, can't we regard that as anti-party activity? Because you're backing someone who is not a member of your political party, leaving your own member to suffer whatever consequences that is there.
Now, when you talk about the damaging control that Wike is, contributing to for the APC, Wike is 99% APC and 1% probably with PDP, and that is if there is still 1% left for him in PDP. But having said that, they are all the same. All right, there's no difference between those that are in APC and those that are in PDP. After all, right now they are all together in APC, right? And apart from those who are aggrieved and have gone to the ADC and a few other persons in other political party. But of course, you will know that in terms of placing value, Wike will be placed on a higher value because of what he has done. He has assisted the ruling party, of course, to bring down many of the majority of the opposition party in Nigeria, which is very clear. Of course, you can see what is going on in PDP. PDP is supposed to be the major political party, the opposition political party in Nigeria at the moment. But as a result of the litigations and the issues bringing around the party, which is still centered around the Wike factor, you can't take that away. In the mind of the APC, definitely they will give that to Wike rather than.
There's something that is almost being downplayed. Like I said, anti-party activity. I believe these political parties have their constitutions, they have rules they abide by. Don't you think Wike is involved, if I'm to allege, anti-party activity with the way he almost speaks for the All Progressives Congress? Makinde came out the other time that he is not going to allow any political party to take power in PDP. Perhaps he might be referring to Wike with that particular statement. But don't you think the issue of anti-party activity should be taken serious? Litigations have been happening, going to court and all that. But we still see Wike winning some of these litigations, despite, allegations of anti-party activities.
Well, Barrister Meme was right where they alluded that Wike is 99% APC and 1%.
But on paper, he's a member of the PDP.
It doesn't matter. You see,
in fact, he has people who are loyal to him in the PDP.
Yes, at the moment, a few months ago on this table, we dissected that PDP are undergoing oxygen in life support. Today, they are comatose. There's nothing like PDP as far as we are concerned with regards to 2027 general election at the presidential level, at the federal level. There is nothing like that. That is Wike's contribution to the APC by decimating that major opposition figure, the PDP. So he is 99% in spirit APC and 1% PDP. So talking about Antipa, that is the reason why he was expelled from the PDP formally, even though it took them a very long time to do so. So, but for the APC, of course, I quoted by saying when the new henchman of the APC, the prof was appointed, my major text is for internal democracy. So by the time you begin to, play into the hands of this thing, it showed clearly where your mind lies, which means there's no guarantee of internal democracy when it comes to selecting who will lead who.
All right.
APC. I can guarantee you that at the moment, a lot of people, there's going to be an implosion also in the APC because it's not going to follow their books. Unfortunately, politicians don't keep to their...
All right, Barrister Meme, quickly, let's talk about NEL Fund, specifically student loan, because of course he talked about it. He talked about over 1 million Nigerian students enjoying the student loans. He also talked about 20,000 naira being distributed monthly, as upkeep money, whether they're in school or on holidays. Do you think this student loan, don't forget it's a loan, can it be regarded as a real social impact as it stands?
Well, we have taken our time, to carry out statistics around the persons who are beneficiary of this initiative. Well, as laudable as it is, these are, normal initiatives that can be initiated by governments all over the world for any serious government. But that should not be a basis of yardstick to ascertain the level of efficiency in terms of response and development for a nation. So the student loan is just a little fraction that any government can naturally do. But if this government is taking, to its heart to say, this is what we have done, so therefore we deserve everything and every support, then it's laughable. All right.
Some people will come out to say, how Nigerian government, come out to talk about some of these reforms, and you see some Nigerians come out to say, no, we have not benefited from some of these reforms. Have you seen any student, or have you perhaps done your research on anyone enjoying this student loan from NEL Fund?
Yeah, a couple of people have benefited from the student loan. But as a development person, when you begin to measure growth, we have yardstick for measuring growth. You can't use, out of 200 million people, you want to use 20,000 people, and you say I should clap my hands for you. You cannot have 20 trillion naira missing from NNPC, hundreds of billions of naira of Abacha load being stolen back by government. ASU is on strike. Every year you refuse to do things, basic things you need to do for a tertiary institution. And you want me to clap my hands. I cannot clap my hands for the government for performing maybe a fraction of a percent in terms of education, when over how many million people are out of school. So what is the policy exactly? What is the philosophy of education of our government? What are we promoting? So for me, it is not something that we should clap hands. It's like somebody putting light or making road and you say we should clap our hands for government. Our government pays salary and they quote it as something that is, a hallmark of the administration. Come on, somebody worked and you pay salary. I've not seen any CEO that at the end of every month when his employees get paid and they want them to go to social media and say, I've been paid. Come on, what are you supposed to do?
Why I asked the question about it being a real social impact or not is because, for one, it's a loan. And the way governance is going, a social media analyst, a popular social media analyst was mentioned that over 140 million Nigerians are still going to be in extreme poverty in the year 2026, and it will even be more. It will escalate more in 2027. Now, if that is to come by, and if it continues with this trend, 140, 150, and we have about 300 million Nigerians also estimatedly in Nigeria, don't you think these students will get to that point where they will not be able to meet up to pay these loans when the time comes?
It even be bigger and more complicated than that, because even in this same administration, in the NEL Fund administration, we saw that there was a time there was an allegation of,
paying back
money being missing. From itself, accountability issue became, deficit there. So beyond that, you can see this is an administration that the president, they quoted that a lot of things have changed. The policy of the president bringing a lot of funds into the country, but we are not seeing the industry. So you cannot measure as a policy growth when the president goes out to borrow. And you want us, no, when you borrow, show us the industry. That's what it means. Show us the industry. Let us see the improvement in education that this thing has promoted. But as far as we are concerned, we are seeing ourselves diving more into multidimensional poverty.
All right. All right. This reminds me of NHIS, National Health Insurance Scheme, Barrister Meme. When that particular, reform came up on board, people were happy about it. But at a point, it became a burden on Nigerians. In fact, the former CEO of NHIS was taken to court with allegations of misappropriation of money, fraud, extreme fraud, and all that. Do you see NEL Fund going or towing that particular part in time with the way some of our reforms come through?
Yeah, definitely. Because if you look at some of the statistics that they are quoting, because you see, the officials of government are quoting that they have over 1 million beneficiaries, but statistics shows that they have less than 50,000 in terms of testimonies of people who must have benefited from this initiative. But the time will come when another government comes in, they will open the records to check indeed what happened in this particular administration. Of course, you can see now that the former Attorney General is being persecuted for an alleged crime they committed while in office. And it has always been so, because you see government officials abusing their powers and privileges given to them. And some of these things, anywhere you find money revolving around, there's no doubt about some of these statistics that are being quoted that these figures are not outrageous in so many ways. But we have not really taken, but when you look at the antecedents of this government and the way they are working in propaganda and all of those things, I have no doubt that. So
you think students on the long run will still suffer for this student loan? Because NHIS, there were a couple reports that came up on board. People came out to even complain. Their monies were being withdrawn for them, and they told them that they were insured in terms of health, but some of these people still go to the hospital, still pay some amount of money and all that. Like, it was like the money taken from their salaries wasn't commensurate with the health emergencies they had to go for. Do you see the student loan getting to that point, the way it's going right now? Because there was a time an allegation even came out that some monies were being misappropriated in NEL Fund. So do you see such thing happening just like it happened in NHIS?
Well, for me, I think time will tell.
Okay.
In all of these things, time will tell, because in the long run, we're still going to find out what happened and how they are executing. Because of course, one thing you can give it to this government is that most of the things they do it in secrecy. And when you write letters to find out, to get more of the details, leveraging on the privilege, on the Freedom of Information Act, they hardly respond. So, but how would you want to take them to court all the time trying to get information about getting the information about what they are doing? But like I said, all of these things will come up when it is time, or when another government comes in. All of these books will be open. We'll have to peruse, look into all of this.
And we'll see the skeletons in their cupboards.
Yeah, when the breeze blows, we'll see the foul nyash.
Well, all right, Mr. Shadrach, it's almost time we conclude the program. Your last statement, please.
I think my last statement is to seize this opportunity to appeal to the conscience of those who speak for government. You don't help matters when you overtly, applaud government unnecessarily, especially in things that are very obvious where they are not doing well. The reason is because those who are in the top are the head of implementing government policies. When you blow out of proportion that they are doing very well, it will make them not to sit up to do what they are supposed to do right. That is in itself corruption. It is very, very not good. So you are not helping government. Speak to the realities and allow projects speak for itself. But when you come up here and you speak of things that are not real, you are not helping planning at all.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Shadrach. Sorry for coming around. God bless you.
Thank you. you, sir.
All right, Barrister Meme, we appreciate your coming for this episode of our Trends.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so that's it for today's episode of Trends. My name still remains Omotola Adeleke. Don't forget to follow, like, and share. Don't forget to also hit the subscribe button at LJE News. Thank you. Bye for now.
In terms of tackling security, there is lack of political will.
Beyond the headlines,
Who are the sponsors of insecurity in this country?
from breaking news to everyday conversations, this is where Nigeria's conversations begin. We track the issues shaping Nigeria and the world today. The world is talking, and we're listening. This is Trends on LJE News.